I'm Ian, and today I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about Kundalini. We're going to have to go into detail about it later. We want to start kind of around the outside edges to begin with, but we'll start by defining the term. What is Kundalini? Kundalini is a goddess worshipped in India. Kundalini is a yoga, which is there's well documented practices and ancient texts about. And Kundalini is an energy that is in the human body, mostly dormant in most people, but can be awakened through proper training and exercises. So, what are the results of Kundalini awakening, you might wonder? You'll have to dig around and you can find instances, but Kundalini has been responsible for creating some of the most interesting people that the world has known. And since we're talking Kundalini, it's basically systems Indian or Tibetan, and they're considered tantric in nature. Tantra is not what a lot of Westerners associate with the word Tantra. Very few of the tantric teachings have anything to do with sex or sexuality. Most of them are a body of work regarding to certain types of practices and meditations, largely relating to Kundalini yoga. So, when you're looking for examples, and who knows, some of the examples and the people are so far back that it's impossible to tell at this point what abilities and things have been exaggerated. But if you want to talk about the general tantric lineage, you go Jetsun Milarepa, way back when, in the Tibetan line of things. More recently, we've had Sri Ramana Maharshi, who didn't go through Kundalini yoga to reach his enlightenment, but that's okay. If you look him up, you'll see he was considered a very enlightened individual, and there's a lot of his information out there that he taught to his students, and they wrote it up in books. And more recently, he's recent enough you can get a black and white picture of him. You can also get a black and white picture of Swami Nityananda, who was from the Kashmir area and had the Ganeshpuri ashram. And he was considered a Indian saint. And then one of his students, Swami Muktananda, who has written a bunch of books, also was considered a modern Indian saint who is now dead. But his stuff is readily available, and you can even get a color picture of him because he was more modern. Holy men are attributed to this yoga, so becoming, a holy man or saint in the Indian, Tibetan sense of the terms. So Kundalini is the evolutionary energy in mankind. And that seems to be its purpose, to evolve the person. And you can find a lot of modern stuff on the internet about the Kundalini, and you'll have to use your best judgment as to what's accurate and what's not. Some of the manifestations a person might see of actual Kundalini awakening include what's called yogic kriyas, and basically that'll be when a person's body sort of moves around on its own and makes certain gestures or signs or mudras, that type of thing, and it does it without the person really knowing, even needing to know what the mudras are. It's kind of an automatic aspect of yoga once it gets awakened to that stage, but that takes some purifications and cleansings. So Here we have something leading to what most people will call enlightenment. And I would like to change that term, or pardon me, I would like to use another term. I prefer the term liberation, because enlightenment is too prone to give a enlightened versus unenlightened division. And division is contrary to the type of enlightenment we're referring to, which would be, in this system, goes towards unification rather than division. So if you're heading towards division, then you're heading away from enlightenment in this system. That's a whole another metaphysical discussion as to what that actually means. But let's suffice it to say that this, when activated properly and started properly, can initiate a complete evolution in a person's personality and their consciousness. Not only that, it can produce a huge amount of physical energy, which can sometimes, if people try to do it without preparation or knowing what they're doing, could cause potential injuries. There is one person who was, I believe, around in the 40s. I'm not sure when he lived exactly. And this person's name was Gopi Krishna. And if you want a horror story about Kundalini, read his books. But I feel that they are unnecessarily frightening, because a lot of his problems were caused by him awakening the Kundalini accidentally. He didn't follow any of the prescribed procedures because he didn't know them. The literature wasn't around at the time. I mean, the tantras were, but he had no access to them. This was long before the internet, of course. So no way to get the information he needed, and that seems to have been what caused him the whole problem with the Kundalini. But it is a interesting, true story, and also frightening. So don't take it too lightly, but also don't go the other route, because I think one of the things that causes a problem with awakening this type of energy is fear of the energy itself. If you're looking at it right and things are awakening properly, the energy should be doing a good thing for you of itself and shouldn't cause any problems. But if you have a blockage that needs cleared out before this energy is awakened, those type of things that need to be considered, and perhaps even consult an actual guru on them if you're not averse to guru worship. There's a lot of bull in this country, and I understand there actually is in India too. And we won't go into guru worship right now, but there is a Swami, and his name was Swami Shivananda Sarasvati, who wrote a whole bunch about Kundalini stuff, and he got it accurate and right. So he is well worth looking up if you want to get started with trying to do something and learn the prerequisites and that. I can't think of a better place for someone from our culture to start, because it's written in an easy to understand language. I have an author I like a lot, Arthur Avalon, or Sir John Woodruff, who wrote a book called Serpent Power, and it is about this Kundalini, and it is direct translations of the Sanskrit texts, and it is most outstanding, in my opinion, but also incredibly difficult to read through because it contains tons of Indian terms, and they take some getting familiar with, so it's a really, really hard read. So Swami Shivananda has basically everything you need in an easy to read format, other than an actual guru. So if you want your information on exercises and how to practice, you could go there and get all the good information you need. Now, to get a little more specific about the Kundalini in the body, the Kundalini resides in 7 lotuses on the body, and these are often termed chakras, which is a correct term, but I don't care for it because it can be misleading. But if you picture each chakra as a lotus with lotus petals, and they have specific amount of petals for each one, you'll have the picture right. Now, you have 7 of these in your body. They are placed at spots along the spine. So the lowest one is spoken of as your root chakra, and is at the base of the spine, and it has 4 petals. Whether you picture the petals facing up and down or down in meditation depends on if you consider yourself to walk a path towards enlightenment, or if you're strictly material and focused on gaining wealth and pursuing industry and such. If you are, they're considered as facing down towards the material world. Otherwise, they're pictured with their petals facing up. The root chakra has 4 petals. From the root chakra and looping up and around your other chakras, which I will show you in a diagram in a moment, there are 2 channels that come from the root chakra, and the root chakra is basically at the base, connected from the base of the spine. The chakra itself is considered to be located at the perineum between your genitals and anus, and there are 2 energy channels coming up from there, a solar channel and a lunar channel. And the lunar channel is considered of a pale blue, soft moonlight blue, and is the lunar channel, and starts from the left side of the root chakra and goes up. And the solar channel starts from the right side of the root chakra and goes up, and it loops around the other chakras, so they crisscross at each chakra until they reach the chakra at your brow, in which they join with the center channel, and the center channel comes right up your spine and right up through. So Kundalini is said to be coiled 3.5 times at the base of the spine. And this is a place called the Khanda, and I'm not sure if I pronounced that correct. But this is the place where it starts, and there's a bunch of symbolism and things in there. And the use of the symbols is important, very important for meditation, as are the correct colors. So I'm going to get my notes out here, and I'll tell you the correct colors, because you almost cannot find a proper color chart using the search engines nowadays. Okay, so here are the colors of the chakras from writer Sir John Woodruff, who wrote The Serpent Power. And these are from his translation of an authentic ancient text called the Satkakra Nirupana, and I'm sure that's not pronounced right either. Apologies. And it gives the colors in this system as this. The root chakra, the 4 petals, is crimson. The lotus is in the area of the perineum. The next lotus is at the base of the genitals, has 6 petals. And vermilion in color, sorry. The chakra located at the root of the navel is the color of heavy laden storm clouds, heavy laden rain clouds, has 10 petals, and the Indian name is the Manipura. Chakra located at the heart center should be bright red, has 12 petals, and is known as the Anahata. The next lotus is at the throat. It's a smoky purple color, has 16 petals, and is called the Visuddha. The lotus at the brow or third eye is considered to be beautifully white like the moon, has 2 petals, and is called the Ajna. The lotus at the top of the head is named the Sahasrara and is also called the 1,000-petaled lotus. It is lustrous and whiter than the full moon. So these lotuses are strung along your spine, as it's described, like a string of blooming datura flowers. So we have these lotuses. We've got the center channel, which is also called the Sushumna at times, and the solar and the lunar channel. And between all these, we have the chakras, channels crisscross at them. So this is the system that we have that we can potentially awaken, and it consists of awakening the Kundalini, which is pictured as a serpent at the base of the spine. And we'll get into that during the next videos when we go into specific chakras directly. And one of the reasons the colors are so important is they're very important for the meditation on the chakras. And if you meditate using the wrong color, or you can't get the color clear in your mind, and it doesn't have to be precise, but you want it to be relatively accurate. I mean, yellow can be lighter yellow or darker yellow, but you still want it to be yellow and not green, that type of thing. Or in the case of your heart chakra, the one we want for meditation, bright red, the petals. And what you'll find mostly on the internet is green at the heart chakra. And we'll go on, like I say, when we get to the next parts of this series, we'll talk about the various chakras and what they mean and how to meditate on them. And please ask if you have any questions. I can only use them to make videos better. So I would love to know your questions and any comments you might have, and how we can get what you want out there. Thank you.